Connect to Blight for the potato clip for the week.
Well, this week we're going to change things up a little bit and have another potato clip. Make sure you tune in next week for the season finale, though. In our first clip back in June, we looked at John 15, where Jesus calls the 12 disciples his friends. I want to look at John 16 today, but keep in mind this close relationship that he has with the apostles. And he's emphasized that as recently as chapter 15 of John. Now, these people have followed him and looked to him as their friend and their teacher and their leader. So in John 16:16, Jesus is telling them that they won't see him anymore. And then they will see him. He tells them it will be a little while, and he says he's going to the Father. The disciples are really confused, it seems, and Jesus knows what's in their minds. He knows what's in their hearts in verse 19. They're going to be sad. They're going to mourn because he's going to be taken away. Now, the rest of the people will be glad because Jesus is gone. People are going to rejoice when Jesus is killed. But his disciples are going to be sad. They're going to be sorrowful. The resurrection will turn their sadness to joy. And that brings us to verse 22 of John 16, where Jesus says, "So also you have sorrow now, but I will see you again, and your hearts will rejoice, and no one will take your joy from you." They're going to find comfort in seeing Jesus again. But what about when he ascends to the Father? Won't they have sadness again? Won't their joy be turned back into sadness and sorrow? Well, no. He says no one will take your joy from you. That joy will stay. Nobody can take away the lasting, eternal joy that we have in Jesus. For those disciples, the joy in Jesus would still be there even after their close friend and leader was taken. And for us, we can have the same joy even when our friends and leaders are taken. Joy in Jesus goes beyond the temporary to the eternal, especially when we share this joy with each other. Jesus then goes on to give more explanation about some of the figures of speech and examples that he has used. It seems like the disciples understand now, but I want you to look down at verse 33. Jesus says, "I have said these things to you, that in me you may have peace. In the world you will have tribulation, but take heart. I have overcome the world." Jesus tells them why he's been talking about this and he's been preparing them in this way. He wants them to have peace. But the peace, he says, is in me. Just knowing what will happen doesn't give the peace that we need. Just because we know what the end of the story is doesn't give us peace while we're in the middle of the story. See, after he is raised from the dead and then eventually ascends to the Father, they can keep that peace because Jesus overcame. Did you notice that, at least in my translation, he says in verse 33, "Take heart, I have overcome the world." Do you think they're going to remember that when he's taken? You think they're going to remember that when they see him on the cross? When they hear that he's died? Because many of them are going to scatter. You think they're going to remember that he said it as if it was already sure that he had already overcome? Not that he will overcome, but they can have confidence. He has already done it. He's already overcome. He's already victorious. You see, when we're sad and our world has crashed down, and when we feel like we're missing direction, Jesus offers joy and peace. And he does that through the cross and through the empty tomb. So you can have peace today. You can have peace every day. Because Jesus will give it. That's what he's offering those disciples. We have no reason to think that he doesn't offer that to us today. But he can give that joy and he can give that peace because he's the one that overcomes and is victorious. That's a wonderful thing that we need to remind each other of. We need to share with other people that don't already know that. You can have joy and peace through Jesus. And he tells us everything that we need to know. He prepares us even for the things that we need to be ready for. And why does he do that? So we can have peace. Let's take peace and comfort in Jesus today and throughout this week.